What's going on, guys? Boost Auto here, and in this video we're installing our Lumastep M2 one-of-a-kind light-up running boards and our Boost Auto power running boards for Ford Super Duties between 2017 and 2022 for Super Crew and Crew cabs. So let's get into it. Introducing Lumastep M2, the successor of Boost Auto's Lumastep M1, the one-of-a-kind light-up running board that took the industry by storm. Lumastep M2 features the same lighting technology with all the lighting functions you know, but with the upgrades that we'll know you'll love. Experience the comfort of our premium auto retract and auto deploy technology, featuring heavy-duty front motors on both sides that output over 2 times the torque of some of the other stuff out there. They are ready to go when you'll need them and tuck away when you're done. Boost Auto powered running boards feature all the awesome features from Lumastep M2 without the light up functionality for those who love to keep a low profile. These boards are just as rugged and powerful as Lumastep M2, with the benefit of being nearly invisible when not in use. This specific procedure applies to 2017 to 2022 Ford Super Duty, Super Cab, and Crew Cab trucks. To get the latest in fitment, availability, and to purchase these running boards, visit our website at boostauto.com. We'll start with mounting our brackets on the passenger side. First, start with mounting your passenger front bracket labeled P up here. Next, at the rear of the vehicle, we'll mount our rear bracket labeled rear here. We can now mount our passenger front bracket. Here's a view of the first mounting location right above the pinch weld. You can see we have studs sticking out. This is where we're going to mount our first bracket. Take your bracket and line them up with the studs. Now you're going to take your 13mm flat washer and your 13mm lock nut. Go ahead and tighten it down. However, do not tighten it down fully because we'll be doing further adjustments down the line. Perform the same steps at the remaining 2 studs for this bracket. Tighten the bracket down. Again, do not tighten it fully down because we'll be doing further adjustments down the line. Now with the front bracket mounted, we can head on over to the rear of the vehicle where we're gonna mount our rear bracket. You'll see you'll have 3 studs sticking out of the body. And now we can mount our rear bracket. The bracket is labeled rear and they are not side dependent, so it doesn't matter which bracket you use. Then install the rear bracket in the same way as the front bracket. Go ahead and tighten it down. However, do not tighten it down fully because we'll be doing further adjustments down the line. On the driver's side, install your brackets in a similar fashion. On the driver's side at the rear bracket, you can see some vehicles may have a parking brake cable. If your vehicle has a parking brake cable here, go ahead and take your parking brake cable cover and insert it over the cable. The parking brake cover will have a slit in it, allowing you to slide it directly over the cable. With the brackets on, go ahead and open your hood. On the passenger side of the truck, we're going to disconnect this negative battery cable. If you have an auxiliary battery, disconnect that now too. We'll start with routing our control unit harness down to the bracket of the running boards. Locate your gray connector labeled passenger side motor and tape it to straightened out metal piece. And for our Lumastep M2 installers, you'll take your harness with the ring terminals on the passenger side with the 2 black connectors on the other end of the ring terminals and tape it to the straightened out metal piece as well. Again, we're routing our harnesses up from the engine bay, back by the firewall, down the wheel well liner to our brackets. Once it pokes out, we can now pull the harness through. Untape the harness. Now take your gray connector that we just ran down and plug it into your motor connector. Now for our Lumastep M2 installers, you'll have your extension harness going to your lighting module. Plug in the 2 connectors that we just ran down. Tie your harnesses out of the way of any heat or moving components. We can now route the driver's side motor harness over to the driver's side of the vehicle down to the bracket. Take your gray connector labeled driver's side motor, and for our M2 installers, we'll take our 2 black connectors from our lighting harness. This is the side without the ring terminals. Now we can route our harness or harnesses for our M2 installers down to the bracket, just like we did on the passenger side of the vehicle. Start by locating the control unit in your kit. Locate a suitable spot near the battery away from any heat or moving components. Take the larger connector from your control unit harness and plug it in. Mount the unit securely with the connector side facing up near the battery on the passenger side of the vehicle. Secure the unit in place using the openings on the corners of the control unit. Next, if you option for Lumastep M2, please proceed with the next section. If you option for our Boost Auto power boards, please skip ahead until part 14, where we will go over routing the control unit harness into the cab of the truck. For our Lumastep M2 installers, we'll proceed with installing our lighting harnesses. Locate your 4-pin black receiving connector and route it down to the headlight connector. Repeat the same steps on the driver's side of the vehicle. For tapping, we have to access the back of the headlight of this vehicle. To do so, we'll start with removing the grille. On top of the grille, you have this cover here. Start with removing the trim clips on top of the cover. Using a trim tool, go ahead and remove the trim clips. Remove all remaining trim clips. Then pop the cover right off. On top of the grille, you'll have these 6 bolts. Go ahead and remove them. On 2020 to 2022 Super Duties, there are 2 nuts threaded to 2 studs on the grille at these locations. Go ahead and remove them. Please note, these are not present on 2017 to 2019 Super Duties. There are 3 types of grilles depending on your year range, and so removal of the grille will vary slightly for each. First, we'll show you grille removal for 2017 to 2019 Super Duty trucks like this one. We'll pull out the grille being held in place with tabs all around the grille. Be careful though, if your truck has a front-facing camera, it will still be connected to the harness. For the fluid line, partially peel back the black ring around it to release the connection. For the camera connector, simply press on the tab and pull back to disconnect. We'll set the front grille aside and continue to the headlight. It's being held in place by 1 bolt from the top, 2 bolts from the front, and 1 bolt from the side. Let's start on this bolt to the side. First, peel the rubber lid back to expose the bolt. Then use a wrench to remove it. Next, unscrew the bolts at the front. And finally, the bolt up top. Go ahead and guide your headlight housing out and disconnect the connector or connectors at the headlight housing. Place your headlight off to the side and repeat the same steps on the driver's side of the truck. You can see here on the screen that there are 2 types of grilles for 2020 through 2022 Super Duty trucks. You'll either have the type with the lower grille molding, or you'll have the type with the 2 separate grille clips. First, let's go through the steps for the grille type with the lower grille molding. Do so by using a trim tool and removing it. We have 2 bolts now hidden here and here. Remove them. Now we can remove the grille. Be careful though, if your truck has a front-facing camera, it will still be connected to the harness. For the fluid line, partially peel back the black ring around it to release the connection. For the camera connector, simply press on the tab and pull back to disconnect. We'll set the front grille aside. We're calling this grille type the one with 2 separate grille clips. If your grille looks like this one, here's how you can remove it. Go ahead and remove the grille clips. Use a trim tool to pry them out. Then remove the bolt underneath. That was the passenger side. Now do the same on the driver's side. Next, pull on your grille to release the clips all around. Be careful though, if your truck has a front-facing camera, it will still be connected to the harness. For the fluid line, partially peel back the black ring around it to release the connection. For the camera connector, simply press on the tab and pull back to disconnect. We'll set the front grille aside and continue to the headlight. Your headlight housing is being held in place by 2 bolts up top and 1 on the side. To remove this bolt on the side, first peel back the rubber flap and unscrew the bolt. Then remove the 2 other bolts up top. Unlatch the plastic tab, and you should be able to just guide your headlight housing out. Pull back and remove the connector or connectors at the headlight. Here's a quick breakdown of the headlights. If you have LED headlights, you'll have this 16-pin connector. If you have halogen headlights, you'll have this 3-pin connector. This is an aftermarket headlight, so yours may look a little different, but your 3-pin connector should be close to the center of the headlight housing. We'll first show you how to install the plug-and-play adapter that you can option with your running boards. Please note, the plug-and-play adapter will only operate with LED headlights. For plug-and-play installation, please follow these steps.
With your headlamp connector disconnected, take your plug-and-play adapter and go ahead and plug it in. Now take the black receiving connector that you routed down earlier and plug that in as well.
Don't connect the plug-and-play adapter to the headlight quite yet. First, move over to the driver's side and install the plug-and-play adapter in the same way. After that, you can continue to install your harnesses. If you did not option for plug-and-play adapter, your kit will come with our Hardwire adapter. Here's the breakdown of that. The red and yellow wire with a quick disconnect is to tap to the turn signal wire on your headlight connector. Turn signal will come standard for all running boards. The blue wire with a quick disconnect is for enabling running light if you option for it. If you did not option for running light, this wire will not be active. You can simply tape the disconnect out of the way. The white wire with the butt connector is for rock light if you option for it. If you did not option for rock light, this wire will not be active, so be sure to tape the butt connector out of the way. We'll first show you how to install the Hardwire adapter on 2017 to 2019 Superduty trucks. If you have a 2020 through 2022, we'll show you that installation after. So for this LED headlight connector, go ahead and first peel back some of the insulation to get better access to the wires. First, for signal, tap to pin 1 using one of the provided red T-taps. Looking at the wires with the connector tab pointing up, pin 1 is at the top left of the connector. Close the T-tap all the way until it clicks in place. Then bring your Hardwire adapter and connect the red and yellow wire to the T-tap. Next, if you option for running light, tap to pin 3 located on the top row and the 3rd slot from the left. Close the T-tap all the way until it clicks in place. Go ahead and connect the blue wire from your Hardwire adapter to this T-tap. Then connect the black 4-pin connector from your Hardwire adapter to the black receiving connector on your main harness. Move over to the driver's side and install the Hardwire adapter in the same way. If you option for the Hardwire adapter for your 2020 to 2022 Superduty truck, please follow these next steps. If your truck has halogen headlights, please skip ahead to the next section. So for this LED headlight connector, go ahead and first peel back some of the insulation to get better access to the wires. First, for signal, tap to pin 1 using one of the provided red T-taps looking at the wires. With the connector tab pointing up, pin 1 is at the top left of the connector. Close the T-tap all the way until it clicks in place. Then bring your Hardwire adapter and connect the red and yellow wire to the T-tap. Next, if you option for running light, tap to pin 8 located at the top right of the connector. Close the T-tap all the way until it clicks in place. Go ahead and connect the blue wire from your Hardwire adapter to this T-tap. Then connect the black 4-pin connector from your Hardwire adapter to this black receiving connector on your main harness. Move over to the driver's side and install the Hardwire adapter in the same way. Next, we'll show you how to install the Hardwire adapter to your halogen headlights. Please note, the installation is the same for all Superduty trucks from 2017 to 2022. For halogen headlights, your connector will be a 3-pin connector located close to the center of the headlight housing. This headlight is aftermarket, so it looks a little bit different. but your 3-pin connector should be closer to the center right about here. Using the provided red T-tab, tap pin 3 for signal. Looking at the wires with the connector tab to the left, pin 3 is at the 3rd slot from the left. Make sure the T-tab clicks in place. Then connect the red and yellow wire from the Hardwire adapter to this T-tab. If your running boards came equipped with running light, tap to pin 2 next, located in the 2nd slot from the left. Again, tap until the red T-tab clicks in place. Then connect the blue wire from your Hardwire adapter to this T-tab. Next, we'll take the black connector on the Hardwire adapter and connect it to the black receiving connector from the main harness. Move over to the driver's side and install the Hardwire adapter in the same way.
We can now install our white pass-through connector. Take the white pass-through connector on your passenger side harness and your driver's side harness and plug them in.
The rock light function overrides any existing function when activated and outputs a solid white light. This will remain on until you switch it off and cannot be overridden by functions such as turn signal or running light. If you did option for rock light but did not purchase our rock light harness, you will simply need to run a 12-volt power feed to the white wire on the Hardwire adapter. If you have an existing rock light or auxiliary switch, you can use that, or any 12-volt trigger will do. If you did option for our rock light harness, follow these next steps.
Over on the passenger side, for our M2 installers, if you option for the optional rock light harness, take one of the white wires and route it down.
Take the butt connector on the white wire of your plug-and-play or Hardwire adapter and connect it to the white wire from your rock light harness.
With it installed, heat shrink the butt connector. Take the other white wire at the end of the rock light harness and route it down to the driver's side headlight. Then repeat the same steps on this side.
Next, continue by installing your plug-and-play adapter if you option for it, or your factory headlight connector to the headlights, and guide your headlight back onto the truck. Then reinstall the bolts for your specific headlight. On 2017 to 2019 Super Duties, you'll have 4 bolts to install. Repeat the same steps on the driver's side of the vehicle. For 2020 to 2022 Super Duties, you'll just have 3 bolts to reinstall, 1 on the side and 2 more up top. Then bring your front grille over and reconnect the camera connector and the washer fluid line back to the grille. Push the grille in to engage all the clips. Then install the bolts up top. On 2020 to 2022 Super Duties, there are 2 nuts threaded to 2 studs on the grille at these locations. Go ahead and reinstall them. Please note, these are not present on 2017 to 2019 Super Duties. Place the plastic cover in place and install the push tabs. On 2020 to 2022 Super Duties, you'll have a couple more steps for reinstallation. We'll go over those next. If you have a 2017 to 2019 Super Duty, please skip the next section. Here again, we'll break down the headlight and grille assembly procedures based off of grille style. Remember, we have 2 types of grills. You'll either have the type with the lower grille molding, or you'll have the type with the 2 separate grille clips. Let's go through the steps for the grille type with the lower grille molding first. Go ahead and install the 2 bolts in front. Then press the lower grille molding into place. Next, let's go through the steps for the grille type with the 2 separate grille clips. Install the 2 bolts from the front as well as the grille clips.
Back on the driver's side, we'll be routing through the grommet inside the cabin of the vehicle. Our grommet's located at the back of the firewall in here.
Feed your steering out metal piece through the grommet.
Back under the hood, when the steering out metal piece pokes through, go ahead and partially pull it out. However, do not pull it out all the way because we'll be taping our wires here. Take your signal input and route them over to the driver's side where we ran the straighten out metal piece through.
For our Lumastep M2 installers who option for our Boost Auto Rock Light harness, disconnect the 2 wires from the switch and route them as well. Next, tape the signal input wires, and for Lumastep M2 installers who option for our Rock Light harness, tape the 2 wires from the Rock Light harness switch to the straightened out metal piece as well.
Back inside the cabin on the driver's side, go ahead and pull it through. With the straightened out metal piece passed through the grommet, we can now untape it from the straightened out metal piece.
Depending on the year range and features on your Superduty, the tapping of the signal input wires will vary. For all 2017 to 2019 Superduty trucks, we'll be tapping at the OBD connector. For 2020 to 2022 Superduty trucks equipped with a 4 or 8-inch display, we will also be tapping at the OBD connector, but at different pin locations. Please make sure you tap at the correct pin locations given the year of your truck. Finally, for select 2022 Superduty trucks equipped with a 12-inch display, you will be tapping at the trailer module. Please skip to your correct section. Over on the bench, let's take a look at the control unit taps we'll use to tap to the wires on the connector. The taps have a wide and narrow side. With the wider side of the control unit tap open, bring the wire over and press down on the tap firmly. Next, on the narrower side of the control unit tap, take your signal input and place it in the tap. Finally, press down firmly on the tap. Now, let's get back to the install. If you have a 2017 to 2019 Superduty truck, please follow the next steps. Unplug the OBD connector located here, under the driver's side dash. It's held in by 2 8mm nuts. Now, we're going to take our OBD connector and flip it around to the other side to reveal the back of it where we're going to be tapping. With the connector tab down, we're going to be tapping to pin 20 for signal high, located on the top row in the 6th slot from the left. Take the wide end of the control unit tap and clamp it down to the wire. Press until it clicks into place. Then take the signal input wire labeled high and install it to the other end of the control unit tap. Press until it clicks into place. Next, we're going to tap to pin 19 for signal low. Pin 19 is located on the top row in the 7th slot from the left. Take the wide end of the control unit tap and clamp it down to the wire. Press until it clicks into place. Then take the signal input wire labeled low and install it to the other end of the control unit tap. Press until it clicks into place. With that done, we can reinstall our OBD connector back into place. For 2020 to 2022 Superduty trucks equipped with a 4 or 8-inch display, please follow these next steps. Unplug the OBD connector located here, under the driver's side dash. It's held in by 2 8mm nuts. Over on the bench, we will tap to our signal high input first. Start by locating pin 23. With the connector tab on top, pin 23 is located on the bottom row, 3rd from the right. Take your control unit tap and install it. Press until it clicks in place, then take your strip wire labeled high and install it at the other end of the control unit tap. Next, tap to signal low input at pin 22. With the connector tab on top, pin 22 is located on the bottom row, 4th from the right. Take your control unit tap and install it. Press until it clicks in place. Then take your stripped wire labeled low and install it at the other end of the control unit tap. Then you can reinstall the OBD connector back into place. For select 2022 Superduty trucks equipped with a 12-inch display, you will be tapping at the trailer module.
The trailer module can be located right above the grommet we just passed the straightened out metal piece through, located right here at this black connector. To unplug the connector, press on the latch on top of the connector and slide it out. With the connector free, peel back some of the tape.
We'll start with tapping our signal high input at pin 6. With the connector tab on top, pin 6 is located on the top row, 5th from the right. Tap to the wire using the control unit tap provided in your kit. Press until it clicks in place. Then take your stripped wire labeled high and connect it to the other end of the control unit tap. Next, we'll tap our signal low input to pin 7. With the connector tab on top, pin 7 is located on the top row, 4th from the right. Tap to the wire using the control unit tap provided in your kit. Press until it clicks in place. Then take your stripped wire labeled low and connect it to the other end of the control unit tap.
With that now tapped, plug it back in.
For Lumastep M2 installers, we'll pick back up on the Boost Auto rock light harness installation now. All we have left to do is find a suitable spot for your switch and drill a hole using a 13/16 drill bit. Run the wires through. The white wire will go to pin 1 and the red wire goes to pin 2. Now back under hood of the battery, start with removing the battery cover. Remove this nut here. Install the battery positive ring terminal. For Lumastep M2 installers, go ahead and install the lighting harness here, and if you option for the Boost Auto rock light harness, you can install the red power wire from the harness here too.
Reinstall the battery cover. We could now reinstall the negative battery terminal. Tighten it down using the 10mm. We'll now install our control unit harness negative cable. We'll install it here at the battery terminal. Remove this nut right here.
Install the negative battery cable from the control unit harness here. For Lumastep M2, install the ground wire from the lighting harness here too.
Reinstall the previously removed nut. We'll now be installing our running boards.
In front of me, you can see we have our Boost Auto powered running boards, as well as our Lumastep M2 powered light up running boards. They install exactly the same, however for Lumastep M2 powered light up running boards, you'll have your module in front as well as the lighting strip that goes across the length of the board.
Before installing our running boards, we'll install our carriage bolts on the back side of the board. Start with flipping the board over. We'll be installing our carriage bolts on the back side in this channel of the running board. On the opposite end of your Boost Auto nameplate on the running board, slide in your carriage bolts right here. Slide the carriage bolts in the approximate location of your bracket. Now with everything hooked up back on the passenger side, we could go ahead and deploy our boards to install our running boards. Simply open the door. And for the rear, you can manually slide it out by hand.
If your kit included these spacer plates, install them like so. If not, please ignore it.
And now we could drop in our running boards. Again, the Boost Auto nameplate will face towards the front of the vehicle. If you did not option for step pads, make sure you install your spacer plate before dropping in your board. Line the carriage bolts up with the holes on your bracket. Now install your 10mm nuts. Now you can tighten them, however, do not tighten it fully because we'll be doing further adjustments down the line. With our running boards on, we can now perform our alignment process. To perform this, start with sliding your running boards all the way towards the rear. Once you slide your boards all the way towards the rear of the vehicle, you can now close the door to retract the boards. For the alignment process, you may need to help guide the boards back in. With the board now retracted, go ahead and line it up to your desired preference.
For Lumastep M2 installers, you'll also install your lighting extension harness to your lighting module located in the end cap of the running boards.
Now, if you have extra slack, you can install your harness guide into the channel of the running board to hide the extra slack. Do so by lining up the harness in it and install it into the running board channel.
Please note, the harness guides can be trimmed to your fitment needs.
Now pull back any slack on the extension harness, giving our running boards a sleek look. Now with everything in position, tighten down the bracket and the board.
Be sure to tighten down the board first, then the bracket.
Perform the same steps on the driver's side.
Test your boards to make sure they're operational. Tie up any loose wires or slack out of the way from heat or moving components.
Now, here's a quick overview of the cleaning procedure for your new running boards. On either side of the vehicle, simply open the door and allow the board to deploy. With the board now deployed, step on the running board and close the door. After a few seconds, the board will then try to retract. Thanks to our pinch sensing technology, the board will stay deployed for ease of cleaning. Simply take your foot off the boards and proceed to clean. If you optioned your running boards with step pads, we highly recommend our step pad cleaning solution to prolong the longevity of your step pads. Once done, you can open and close the door to retract the running board.
That wraps up this install for our Lumastep M2 and our Boost Auto power running boards for 2017 through 2022 Super Duties. If you like what you see, head on over to boostauto.com. And with that, we'll catch you in the next one.